So already you can notice that mine is bigger than Troy's.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's not really the way it is down here. Hey, it's Troy Casey, Certified Health Nut, here back at Holistic Healing Institute with my good buddy Matt Marchant. What's your website again, Matt?
www.marchantmethod.com.
And so Matt was teaching me functional exercises, corrective exercises. You can find out more information in Paul Chek's book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. You can contact Matt directly. He's in Orange County, Tustin, California. And so today you're going to show me some elements of lunging.
Absolutely. So what we've been doing is we've been going through the primal pattern movements that Paul Chek has developed. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the lunge pattern. So if I could quickly just give a quick definition, really just my definition, of what a functional exercise is. See a lot of things out there with functional this, functional that, but what's a functional exercise? So here's an easy definition. Any exercise that has a high degree of carryover to the 7 primal pattern movements. So if an exercise you're doing has a high degree of carryover and actually helps you develop your squat, your bend, or your lunge, I dare say it's functional.
Yes. Yes. And anything that's going to help you spear chuck.
And this is going to.
Because if your spear chucking methodologies aren't that razor sharp, then you might not eat. Did you ever think of that? Because I did.
And based upon the traffic of Santa Monica, you may need to learn how to chuck a spear. So.
Great. So show me what we're going to do.
Perfect. Well, let's just first go through the lower body mechanics of it. The great thing about what we're going to do is we're going to tie in the lower body with the upper body. Okay? So here's a general rule of thumb. The lower body really craves simple exercise. Deadlift.
Yes.
Squat.
Yes.
But the upper body craves sophistication. We have these fingers for a reason. They like to do all these tricky things. So we want to try to make our exercise program kind of caveman-ish for the lower body, because that's really what it wants, but more sophisticated for the upper body. So that's what we're going to do in this movement. The tool we're going to use is we're going to use a club, sometimes called a heavy club, an Indian club, a lot of different names for it, but we're going to use a club. But let's first go through our lower body movement of doing a lunge. So first what we're going to do, we're just going to go into a nice, comfortable, easy standing position, okay? Feet are about hips width. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a forward lunge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay up tall. I'm looking straight ahead. I have good posture. My TVA is pulled in tight. That pelvic floor muscle is lifted, okay? And I'm going to step forward, lunge, and right back to where I came. And again, step forward, lunge, and right back to where I came. Okay, so now the cool thing about this exercise, no matter what your fitness level is, you can do this exercise. Let me show you. So if you got some mobility issues, some strength issues, this right here, that's a lunge, baby.
Wow.
You're doing a primal pattern movement. You're working on your lunge. You can also go really deep and really get into that lunge. So no matter what your fitness level, you can do a lunge. So let's get into...
You don't want your knee to go over your ankle. Is that true too?
Slightly, yeah. You can have a little bit of that knee casting forward over the toe, but to be quite honest, it's a generalization that for most people that's going to hold true. There are going to be some athletes and some people that will be able to safely take that knee over the toe, but you are absolutely correct. In most cases, I really limit people from letting that knee kind of pitch forward over the big toe. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So let's go ahead and grab our club.
Okay. It's the first time I picked up one of these things.
So already you can notice that mine is bigger than Troy's.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's not really the way it is down here.
So what we're going to do. So now let's learn the upper body movement. We're going to do what's called an arm cast. So the cool thing about a club is all the weight, is on the top, forcing the grip, which then means forcing the rotator cuff to really turn on and activate, okay? So we're going to choke all the way down, maximizing the leverage of the club. We're going to keep our elbow at 90 degrees. The weight sits 90 degrees. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over my shoulder and back. Okay, now if you watch what I'm doing, I'm keeping the weight about ear level. What I don't want to do, let me show you the bad way first. Sometimes you need to see bad in order to see good. So here's bad. Whoa, way too high.
Right.
My shoulder stays down. I'm not shrugging up, staying down. It goes over and back. Why don't you give it a try? Perfect. So now we've learned our upper body exercise. That's our chop. So now let's combine the both. Okay? So what we're going to do, let me show you the exercise first.
Okay.
I'm going to go over my shoulder. As I cast forward, what I'm going to do is with my opposite foot, and here's where it's really, really important, and here's where it takes a very skilled practitioner to understand the difference. We're going to step forward with the opposite foot. The reason is because of the cross-crawl principles of the body. So when you walk, I hope that when you walk around, you walk just like so. I hope you don't do this. So what we're going to do is we want to make sure that our movement is really enhancing the programs of the mind. So here we go. We're going to start with the weight overhead, or right here in front of us. I'm going to start overhead. As I chop, I lunge forward and back. Lunge forward. I'm up nice and tall. And for breathing purposes, you want to exhale as you chop. Perfect. Troy, why don't you give it a try?
Okay. So start here.
Yep.
Okay.
And as you chop, you're going to step forward with your left foot. Breathe out as you step. Perfect.
Now this is integrating everything, both sides,
You're
up, down.
Exactly. So what we're doing, Troy asked a great question. What we're doing is we're really integrating everything from head to toe, literally from head to toe. So again, just to briefly describe, what we're doing with the lower body is we're going into a forward lunge, and we're working on that lunge pattern. With the upper body, we're going in a chop. Another way to describe this, if we're looking at primal pattern movement, is that's a pull. Okay, and you're actually going to chop as you step. So what you're doing, so you're going to start over
That's
shoulder.
right.
He's actually pulling over with the lat. So we're doing a lunge, we're doing a pull. We're also working the cross-crawl mechanisms of how the brain responds to the body. And so literally this is a complete, fully functional exercise that is going to enhance not just one, but a couple different movement patterns in that primal pattern movement system.
And so this is good for spear chucking and pitching a baseball, right?
Absolutely. And the great thing is that when you train both sides, you'll be very ambidextrous in your spear chucking ability.
Yes. Yes, that's awesome. And if somebody does not have a club bell, how would you do this exercise?
The club is great because, like I said, it gives you a little bit more sophisticated feel. But a dumbbell works too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into that same forward lunge position, but now we're just going to press up overhead. So what I'm doing, again, the key point is we're working the opposites. If we work the same, we may actually be regressing in evolution and going back to those
Knuckle drag.
knuckle dragger days. Hey! If you find your knuckles are bleeding often, you may be a knuckle dragger.
Find a Czech practitioner to rescue you.
So what you're going to do, Troy, is with your right hand, you're going to press up to the ceiling.
Okay.
Press up to the ceiling as you lunge forward with your left foot. Perfect.
That's great.
Excellent.
It feels good.
Yeah.
Feels lots of moving parts and
Absolutely. One thing I like about doing these exercises and the brilliance of the primal pattern movements are you start combining some of these movements. You really start waking up your mind. And when I mean waking up your mind, you really start getting more focused with the movements that you're doing. You're not just at a gym, sitting in some leg extension machine, texting away about, hey bro, what are we doing this weekend? Doing your leg extensions. I mean, you're fully into what you're doing. You're paying attention to your movement. You're paying attention to your breathing. You're paying attention to your core. This is really brings us really in touch with the body. Absolutely.
The primal element of being human, even I can see this translating into riding your bicycle, walking down the street, picking up your children, you know, taking things out of your car, if you're doing construction work, any of that stuff, it's being functional.
Absolutely, and the greatest thing about it is, as you notice, we're not using a whole lot of weight to do it. You don't have to start with a lot of weight. It's really, some of these movements are not meant for a whole lot of weight. What they're really designed to do is to slow things down and take a look at your movement and really get in touch with your own body.
Yeah, I love what it does for my nervous system and in the mind, because you kind of have to think about your movements in the integration. I love this journey. So everybody remember out there that I've been assessed to where my personal body is at, and I have a stretching program as well as turning on my transverse abdominal program. And so you can find out more information in Paul Chek's How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. It is the Bible for functional fitness and basically all around holistic health. And so there's a description in the box below, and you can also contact Matt. And Matt would be happy to guide you on your journey to health, healing, and doing deadlifts at 450 pounds. If that's your goal. Assalamu alaikum.